Hi.
Oh, Tracy, how are you? Good to meet you. How are
Nice.
things going?
It's going okay. Nice to meet you. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you because I absolutely adored this film, and congratulations to you on all the accolades. You must be so excited.
Thank you. It's been amazing and it's the awards are nice, but I have to say the most amazing, beautiful thing is just people telling me their stories and how they can relate and knowing that it's really affecting people personally,
Hmm,
that's everything.
yeah,
That's the reason we tell stories. So
100%. But okay, well, let's go there because I'm watching this and I knew nothing. I love going in blind. Like I didn't know your story, whatever. Wanted to watch the film and then do my digging later, right? Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah. I
The first
appreciate that.
right? But the first thing, and I think that's the way people should see movies or whatever, but to each his
Yeah,
own. But what struck me immediately was it gives you hope. There's still some kind people out there, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I knew this was true from personal experience, obviously. I knew that small acts of kindness can change someone's life and they can
Yeah,
and therefore that person can change the world. I mean, they're literally as we'll probably get into, this was inspired by, it's fictionalized, but it was inspired by a real situation, a real friendship in my life.
yeah.
And this stranger small acts of kindness helped me heal in ways that nothing else had, and sometimes healing comes in these really unexpected ways. So, and then we wouldn't be talking, there
Yeah.
would be no movie if a stranger on the internet had not been kind to me. We would have, and all the people that have told me this movie is effective, that wouldn't have happened. So, the ripple effect potential of these small acts of kindness is infinite, you
Yeah,
know?
which is lovely, which is
Yeah.
a great goal for the film to
Yeah.
inspire that. Okay, so let's for people who are watching this interview and they're like they have no clue what we're
Yeah.
talking
They're
about.
like, what are you
But
talking
yeah,
about?
what are people nice on the internet? What's that
So,
concept
I
about?
skipped ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that, people. But basically, I'll sum it up and then you can go into the detail. But basically, you were having issues with your own father. You went online, you looked on Facebook, and you looked up your name, like your dad's name. And sure
Yeah.
enough, bing, somebody, liked your comment, right? And it was the same name as your dad. Okay, take it from there, my dear.
So yeah, so I was trying to reach my father. He wouldn't email me back, wouldn't call me back. So I put his name into Facebook, thinking maybe he's on Facebook. I'll try that way. He
Yeah,
was upset with me at the time, and I still am a recovering people pleaser, and I was very much a people pleaser back then, and I was trying to fix it. So I thought, oh, I'll try him on Facebook, and I thought it was him. The town made sense, and the
yeah,
picture, it wasn't obvious that it wasn't him. So I thought maybe it's him, and our name is not spelled. It's not a very common spelling of our name as well. So I put add a friend and went to sleep, woke up to this notification from a stranger that had with my dad's name who had liked my comment, and I thought it was my dad for a second, and that stranger had access to my heart because of the
of
name.
course. Yeah,
And so I felt accepted for a second. I felt like, wow, and then I was like, wait, it's not my dad. And, but it felt so good and healing. And I didn't really understand why I needed it. But I just thought I do need this. And I need this stranger with my dad's name being kind to me. And so I just stayed friends with him. And he was continually kind to me just for the sake of being kind. And,
yeah,
a happy birthday post from someone with your dad's name when your dad's not telling you happy birthday. And,
right.
cheering you on when you're an independent filmmaker, when your dad's not doing that. I mean, these things are so necessary for a human being to thrive,
But it's
just
truly amazing, Tracy, because as we know, and as we teach our children growing up within this world that we live in now, don't engage with strangers on the
yeah.
internet, like you don't know. And as we see in Rachel's character who plays Jeannie, Bob's wife in the film, you're being catfished. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's her immediate go to. And so, what a beautiful story that it does end up being a positive and life changing experience. And for the character Lily, who is basically you in a way, um, I have to. But my other instinct was, how can you not love Lily? Like
So
immediately
wonderful.
with watching Barbie in this role, my heart was just like, I want a daughter like her. Like I just
Yeah.
love her. She is such a people pleaser, but she's always got that. You see that there's stuff going on, but she's so always has to have a smile on her face and tries to help everybody. And so tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about why Barbie, how you found her, and what connected you that you thought, yeah, she's going to be perfect to play me in this film.
Well, I think in a way because it's not a documentary, I was just looking for the right heart. It didn't
Yeah.
matter. The rest of the stuff didn't matter, it was just and across the board, and in many ways, I was just looking for the right hearts for this film. I felt like people who get it, people who've been through maybe some of the similar things, because
Sure.
I found that my experiences and Barbie's experiences and John's experiences, French and Rachel and everybody's experiences, they kind of overlap in a way. And in the middle is our film.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, just my life, but like, hey, let's take all these parts of all of ourselves, and we're telling the same story, but we're showing up as
Right.
ourselves in a way. Like, and
Sure.
so Barbie brought herself, and she is just a phenomenal human being, and a phenomenal actress, phenomenal artist.
Yeah.
And what I'd seen her in Euphoria, and she was so vulnerable, so
Yes.
open, so vulnerable. And, I'm not often looking at like the context of those scenes because it's a very different role. Kat Hernandez and Euphoria is very different.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, it couldn't be more different probably, But but the vulnerability was there, and she was bringing this truth to it. And for a young actress to bring that, so bring all of it, there was no holding back. She was really bringing that. And I saw that vulnerability, and Lily really has that vulnerability. And then I watched Unpregnant, which is a Max film. She's opposite
Yep.
Haley Lee Richardson,
Yes.
and she has this kind of like childlike awe, and the ability to make the everyday things magical, and
Exactly. Yeah.
and I think Lily really has that too. Lily has been used to making meals out of breadcrumbs, and has such an innocent spirit at
Mm,
heart. So I was like, these things don't usually exist in the same person. The
right.
ability to be so and she's also edgy. We're saying, we didn't want to make like a toxically positive film. This is about light and the darkness.
Oh,
We're
for
we're not.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, you've got to tell the truth. Like the scenes
yeah,
with the father and stuff, like heartbreaking, and I don't want to give anything away, but
yeah.
how,
But
how it evolves and what she does. And I was like, yeah, I was really rooting for her. Like you've got to, you got to stand up for yourself. You've got to, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, like I say, I don't want to give anything.
No, no, and it's in a way, it's easy to look at someone in Lily's situation, and say, oh, she's like a doormat or something, and no, no, no,
Yeah.
this is an incredible human being who's self-made, who
Yeah.
is a survivor, and has come through things with and staying optimistic, and staying, she's still trying.
Sure.
How many people would give up or turn to a different kind of life, early on, but she just she's the hero we all kind of need right now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know, did you make your therapist cry?
I did, well, sort of. So what happened is I was 18. I got to the University of Texas,
Yeah.
and I knew I needed therapy. I was like, oh my gosh, how like beeline, like straight to
Who
wherever I could go.
doesn't, Tracy? Come
Yeah.
on. Who doesn't? Yeah. Yeah.
I was ready. I was ready. But I didn't really understand how it worked. I went to the assistant, the sliding scale university kind of trainee,
Yeah.
and it was like $8 or something. It was something I could actually afford.
Right.
And
Right.
sort of. And so I went in there, and I really thought you go in there, you're as honest as possible, you tell them everything, and then like print out some kind of like to-do list,
Right.
and
Right.
and it's over and you're
And
healed,
you're
and you just
fixed.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I got in there, and I thought I only have an hour. So I just unloaded everything to this poor
Wow.
trainee. And then when I was done, I was looking at the clock, and it was kind of time to go. And she was just in shock, and her eyes were wet, and she like didn't know what she like was speechless. And I remember it's different in the movie, her react, but I got up
Yeah.
and went over and just said, I just kind of went
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. I mean, it works so well in the film. But, oh man. Yeah.
It kind of
This is
says it all.
yeah. It's so wonderful. And I also was wondering too, when you first started talking to Barbie and what kind of discussions did you guys have? Because as you say, it's not an autobiography, it's not a,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, but I guess, she needs to please you because she's playing you and that might be intimidating. I don't know. Like, how did you put her at ease to like just be herself?
I think I mean, I can't speak to her side of it, but for my side of it, um, I think that trust is everything,
Yeah.
it's absolutely everything. And from the minute I sit down with an actor, if you're going to go the distance with them, if you're going to be in the trenches together, then like they need to know you've got their back,
Mm,
and that, I think that because Mike Nichols has a quote I like to share that says, if you want an actor to go somewhere, be willing to go there first. And
sure. Yeah.
I think because the story was so vulnerable, and even though it's fiction, it was inspired by my truth and my emotional truth, and I was being so vulnerable by sharing it. I think that kind of leveled the playing field a little bit in regards to like, it's okay for you to be vulnerable because I'm vulnerable too, and we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
So it was very easy to talk to her, from I knew it would be because I pay really close attention before I go out to anybody. A lot of people have lists of actors, and those really bother me. I'm like, there's no list for my characters. There really isn't. There's one human being who's meant to play each role, one human being in the world. That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
Barbie Ferrer was that human being.
Yeah.
And so I said, I know she's gonna get it. I just know it. I've been looking at her work. I've been listening to her interviews. I just know it. And luckily she did. So I'm just glad she showed up fully, and boy, did she show up. That's all I can
Boy,
say.
yeah, no, she absolutely did. Okay, well, let's go down through the rest of the cast because, of
Yeah.
course, John Leguizamo, like one of the nicest guys on the planet. I've interviewed him many times, and he can just talk forever, and he's just hilarious. Like, I mean, he's great. But again, like he just fit this role so perfectly, I think, because he is such a good, warm person inside. And so, what was it like, nabbing him? Was because he and Barbie, of course, are also producers on the film too.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Mhm.
clearly they believed in it.
Yeah, they're both executive producers, and they really earned that. A lot of
Yeah,
times people just kind of do that. I'm like, no, they've shown up in every possible way. They've been involved. They're helping now with press and promo. They are passionate indie spirits that are really behind this movie. And
yeah, nice.
yeah, really, really wonderful. And so John, he came after Barbie. I didn't have any ties to him, and so I had to get a casting director to go to him. But Kate Geller was our cast. And by the way, Ashlyn Moore is the therapist. I just want to say that, the wonderful therapist. She's
Yeah, yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Just I forgot to say that, but I
Yeah, no,
need to
that's
look
okay.
at it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. She no,
that's
she was
hard to
great.
turn on a dime like that. I mean, she did amazing work.
Yeah, yeah.
And Kate Geller was our casting director in New York, and she knew I wanted to go to John. I had thought of John earlier. He's very busy. He works a lot, and so
Does.
weren't
Yeah.
sure what your dates were. I was like, I don't, what am I going to do? And then things took a little longer. And then she was like, he's available. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I actually made a video letter for him. I've never done that for an director letter to an actor. But I just thought, I just want him to see me. I want him to see how authentic it is. I want him to see that he's the only one. And so I did that. And then I flew to New York and met with him. And just like with Barbie, the minute we sat down, he's such an authentic person. And, people know BS.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they,
Yeah, of
they do
course.
yeah, especially these incredibly insightful human beings.
Yeah,
They can tell in a second. So I think because we were both real and coming from the right place, it just was all kind of easy. Even the hardest obstacles we faced were somehow okay. And
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and it was funny because I feel like he's really, obviously he's hilarious and he's charming, and but he had to do things differently in this film. If he were ever trying to be charming in this film, the whole film would, I mean, he is incredibly charming, but he's not trying to be,
Right,
in
right,
the film.
right. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's
Sure.
just naturally, it's like this. So he had never like flirt or ch be charming or things like that. He had
Yeah,
to be kind of an interesting good guy. Um and that's really who he is, to be honest. From my experience, he's just this wonderful human being. And he said in one interview that, a lot of times he's become whatever he's becoming. Usually it's something crazy or something, not all bad, but crazy
yeah,
or eccentric in this movie he was becoming himself.
yeah.
And I thought, what a beautiful thing to have experienced, to see someone be themselves on screen. And he's kind of become all of our Bob.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I know I've interviewed him many, many times. And I remember when my boys were really young, they loved Ice Age. And he would do like Sid the Sloth for me, like on camera. Like he was hilarious. Like he's such just a good guy. Like I'm like, you don't have to do it. No, no, we're your kids, it was great. I'll always remember that about him because he's just so,
Yeah.
giving and warm. And Rachel, like I am such a huge fan. I cannot wait to talk to her because I'm a Broadway babe. I just love her. So I saw her in Dear Evan Hansen and I've been following her ever since. And it's so lovely to see her in a role like this because sometimes she always plays the baddie a lot in her new series, obviously, and Georgia Mandy. And she's got that edge sometimes in when she's cast. So it was so beautiful to see her in this role. Like she just was wonderful. And I didn't know I'd need a box of Kleenex at the end. Thank
No, no, I know. I mean, try not to tell anybody, but she, I want, when I met with her, I mean, gosh, she's a wonderful human being too. I'm just the luckiest director in the world. That's the first time feature with all these incredible human beings. I mean, it's
you. Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Stewart, Lauren, Lolo Spencer, um,
Yeah.
Rachel, the minute we sat down, it was like, we joked because it was supposed to be like a 20-minute meeting and it was like 2.5 hours or something, and we just couldn't stop. We're like yes anding each other about everything. And I was even showing her like notes and story. I was like, well, I don't think we're supposed to get this detailed yet, but we're so excited. One thing that was really important is the really the fundamental resolution of this movie, without giving anything away. The
Yeah.
fundamental resolution of the movie hangs on her and on her character, and
Yeah.
that's it. It may appear not to be a large role with screen time, but it is
Oh,
such an integral role. The whole movie would not work without
yeah.
her negotiating and navigating so many different things in the and it's such a mix that has to be balanced just right.
Yeah.
And she just knocked it out of the park. And sometimes in some of her scenes, I'll be like, wow, there's 500 people in here, and you can hear a pin drop
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody's just hanging on every word she's saying. And so same thing with my other cast as well. But you know the sequence. I can't give anything away,
No, no, no,
but
no, 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 no,
incredible.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so impactful. It's just lovely.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. Also, and then let's just with him with French Stewart too, because again, goofy 30 Rock from the Sun so many years ago, but we haven't seen him do a lot. So
Yeah.
wow, what a joy to see him in this and then play this guy who is not likable at all.
And so different. French is the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to be kind and have a lot of empathy to play the lack of that,
right,
sometimes.
for sure.
But so his wife is a wonderful writer and she's a friend of mine and she's in my writing group. And one day she said, well, French is going to sit in today if anybody has anything for him to read. And Lily's dad didn't even have a name yet. I was like, oh, what do I have for him? This is kind of rough, but maybe you could read Lily's dad, and he did, and he blew us all away. And he actually ended up in the group reading both parts. But I knew I kind of wanted him for Lily's dad. And so I said, I'm gonna put this together. I'm gonna come back to you. Wait for me. And I never went out to anybody else. He was always the one I wanted.
Yeah,
And I love casting against type. I love like I feel like as a director, you're in this really unique position to see people and to provide opportunities that they so deserve.
right.
And if we don't look a little hard, and that's what makes things fresh too, like seeing people in a different way. We don't do the same thing over and over and over. And
100%. Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
I'm some people say the last uh plot twist is in the credits when you see that it was French Stewart.
No, I recognize it right away, but oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Like, you were really blessed with your cast. They did such justice to this film. And I have to say too, I think everybody needs to go to a rage room once in their lives, right?
Yeah, I still haven't gone. People ask me, I'm like, I'm gonna go the minute that I have a break.
Wow. Like what a seriously, it really lets it out. I don't
Yeah.
think I've not been to one either, but I've almost been and have friends who've like, well, let's do it. And I'm like, I think I'm going after seeing this film. I'm totally going to do it. I think I need it some days. So at the end of the day, Tracy, after you finished everything, and even when you finished watching like the final credits and the little blurb that comes up at the end, what a cathartic experience this must have been for you, I think.
Yeah, it was really healing. It feels like I was carrying around a lot of baggage, and this the stranger helped me kind of let go of that. And then my cast and crew, my incredible team, my fellow producers, my whole team, they really helped me go through this experience and be vulnerable. You cast the cast, but you also cast the crew,
Sure.
and we really became a little family. And it was. I was healing every step of the way. I thought my healing was done when I wrote the movie, and then it was
Yeah.
happening, and we were shooting. I'm like, oh, I'm still healing. And even now with audiences, I'm like, as they, there's healing in knowing that my story is not it matters, but it's not just my story, it's actually our story, and there's so many of us. you know
Yeah.
and whatever someone can relate to and whatever they take from it no longer is something I have to carry, but something I got to share. And that kind of that kind of flips it in a way, and so I don't feel that weight of it anymore. I feel ready for whatever's next, and
Mm.
I'm just extremely grateful and really extremely grateful, especially for the audiences, because without them being open to it, we wouldn't be coming to theaters. So
No, of course, of course. And
yeah.
you just sparked something because it's like not so much about your family that you're born into, but as we see in this film, and I always say this to actors because it is about your chosen family. Like when you work with somebody, you've got this whole new family, and you can kind of like I look at somebody like Rachel Bay Jones, who's been in so many different shows and things like that, but look at her now. Like she's got this new, from young Sheldon to the Mandy
Yeah.
show, that she's been able to keep that family, and that's kind of her chosen family. So for you to be on a set like this, I can't imagine that this is not your new chosen family.
It really is. And I'll never be, I used to have this narrative that I was alone, especially when I was younger.
Yeah.
And once you've had an experience like this, that thought comes in and you can never really entertain it again because I'm not alone. We're not alone. There's
No.
so many of us going through the same things and we just really, really need each other.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to see what you do next because I just really was so blown away by this film. I've been telling everybody about it. So
Thank you,
thank you. I
Bonnie.
really appreciate your time today, Tracy. Best of luck with everything. And come visit us in Toronto and then we can talk some more.
Yeah, I will. I want to. I'll be there as soon as I can.
All right, I'm waiting for you. The weather's getting nicer now too, so
I
it's all
know,
good.
I know. Well, thank you so much, and I can't wait. I hope Toronto likes it.
Oh, they will. Listen. I'm gonna make sure I get the word out to them all. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Okay. Bye.